What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top-rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in to 2020 Media's NBT Banks on the Scene podcast. This is Tom Hickey, one of your co-hosts. We reach over 250,000 people. That's 250,000 people through weha.com, Jewish Ledger, and West Hartford Magazine, 24/7, 365. And before we introduce today's host, I wanted to introduce my co-hosts and say hello to Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hey, Tom. Tom Hickey, along with myself, Kaushik Makati, and Ronnie Newton, is a founder and partner in weha.com. Tom brings to West Hartford the Connecticut Jewish Ledger, West Hartford Magazine, which is West Hartford's original lifestyle magazine, the various tastes of West Hartford, the best of West Hartford, which will celebrate its 11th anniversary on November 17th. This podcast will probably go on after that, and other fun events throughout the year. Our podcast is assembled and posted by the Modern Observer Group of Middletown, Connecticut. And today our guest is University of St. Joseph's President Rhona Free. Hello, Rhona.
Good morning.
So I usually ask the first question and Tom takes over after that. But one of my friend's daughters went to the University of St. Joseph. She went there right around the same time that you opened up the campus so as a co-ed campus. So I've read recently that was your idea. Or you kind of pushed it? Is that correct?
I wouldn't say it was my idea. I would say it's an idea that had been considered for a number of years. And when I started, within a couple of years, it became apparent that it was an idea whose time had come, that it was the right moment to consider making the transition. And then after a lot of careful deliberation, it was concluded that, it was the right time and we would make that transition to coeducation. So I hope your friend's daughter enjoyed her experience as one of the members of one of the first co-ed classes.
She did. No, she loved it. She loves University of St. Joseph, and it was one. I think it was on one of the lacrosse team or one of the teams up there. But yes, very much so. So another question on that is, one of my kids went to St. John's, and that's a Vincenzo College. Is there? What's your college's association?
So we are associated with the Sisters of Mercy, which is an international religious order, and they are still very prevalent around the world. And fortunately for us, they are still there's still many sisters in this immediate geographic area. So we have 5 sisters on the board of trustees, and they are very involved with our decision making and our plans for the future. Although we don't have all that many sisters living on campus or working on campus anymore, they're still very much a part of the institution.
I feel as though one of the reasons why, Rhona, I wanted to have you on and just chat a little bit, I just feel as though every time I turn around, I'm sure you do too, there's something going on at University of St. Joseph's. There's some new announcement of, basketball being added, with Calhoun. I think it was just last week I heard something about your now maybe this is just me catching up, but the early admittance program where you can go online and within 24 hours, if you're admitted or something. I mean, it's crazy, so who's coming up with all these ideas and all this energy to accomplish all of these things?
Well, as you know, there are huge changes in a lot of industries. Certainly in the media industry, there have been a lot of changes. And you're doing a podcast now, which is something you probably wouldn't have thought of 10 years ago.
I would have said, what's a podcast? Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're faced with the same thing. The industry is changing. The way that we have to communicate with students is changing. What students are interested in is changing. And so we're always looking at the landscape. What are students interested in as they come out of high school and want to go to college, or if they're in careers and are looking for a graduate degree, what are they interested in and how can we serve their needs? And then we also look at the employers in the area. What are their needs? What types of degree programs would they want us to develop? So an example of that is we have what's called an upside down computer science degree, where students come out of high school and they can start right away in their computer science classes instead of the norm, which is they start college in their general education classes as in history and science and so on. For a lot of those students, they really want to start coding right away. And then they move into those general education classes later. They can do internships with employers very quickly. They start out working in our IT program on campus. So, we always have to be looking at what are employers interested in, what are students interested in, and what are our competitors doing. So higher ed is a very competitive industry. There are lots of terrific options for students in Connecticut and in this region and in the country. So we have to be looking at what are other universities offering, how are they offering it, and would it be the right thing for us to do the same?
Interesting. How many students live on campus today? Now is it? I have no idea.
Yes. So we have about 900 undergraduate students, and we have about 420 of them living on campus. And in fact, this is one of the things where we have to be monitoring what students are interested in. There's been a resurgence in interest from students in living on campus and being in the traditional college campus residential environment. So we have every bed on campus full. And now we've rented apartments in Hartford for students who we don't have room for on campus, but who also are doing things like rotations in hospitals in Hartford. So it's convenient for them to be in Hartford. And we'll probably be adding some additional off-campus housing. So instead of just telling students, we don't have room for you, you got to go find your own apartment, we are using the model where we rent a group of apartments or townhouses or and then students remain a part of our residential population, but they're just living on another site than on campus.
And then what do you do? Do they there must be shuttles or something or whatever that bring them back and forth or out?
Yeah, interestingly, students typically have cars now, so they usually drive themselves. We're fortunate in that we're on bus lines, so we have buses that go past campus both sides, on Albany and on Asylum. So a lot of students take buses in. And then fortunately, in good weather, many of them ride their bikes, and that's a good thing for them.
I'm smiling. The people listening to the podcast can't see that, but it reminds me of, and Bob, you'll probably appreciate this, years ago when I was dropping my son off at school as a freshman. Instead of there being 2 people in his dorm room, there were 4 guys, in his dorm room. And I remember turning to one of the other fathers and saying, "Are we getting a discount?" So packing in, they don't, they don't care. It's the parents who care. It's like, the kids didn't care. They loved it. So
Rhona, do you think your economics degree, is that something that you think because hearing what you said about the upside down degree program sounds very business-like. That's, it has somebody thinking in terms of what does the student really need or want, as opposed to here's how we're going to structure this. So is that something you think came back from your education and your previous experiences?
Yeah, I do think that. Being an economist, it helps you to, or I'm not so sure if it helps you, but it makes you see the world through a particular lens. We look at, what are people's preferences? What are they aiming to accomplish? So I think it does have you look at student decision-making in a particular way, realizing that this is a business. And interestingly, if you look at the credentials of new college presidents, I'm very traditional in that I came up through the academic ranks. I have a PhD, but new presidents who are being hired are very often coming right out of the corporate sector or some other sector than this traditional path. And I think it's because it has become such a competitive industry, and there is a real need to look at the operation as a business and also as almost a small town. So we're a small campus, but even as a small campus, we have our own public safety, and a lot of the same operations that a small town would have. So I think training that's a little bit off the traditional path of a PhD in the humanities or something, or the sciences, is becoming very common.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know why I've never thought of that before, but it really is. It is a small town within a town. It's just, when you think about it. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, and we're very fortunate that we are a small town within a wonderful town, West Hartford. So there are some operations, some services that we don't feel we need to offer to students because they're so readily available and really so good in the town of West Hartford. But other campuses have to offer pretty much everything for their students. They're not in such a great location.
I know nothing's easy, but it has to help being in West Hartford, right? I mean, it can't be a hard sell when people, are looking at your campus and looking around and, going to Bishop's Corner, going to West Hartford Center, whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly. So one of our points of pride right now is that we are listed as the safest campus in the state. And I think a large part of that comes from being in West Hartford. We have a terrific relationship with public safety in West Hartford and the fire department. I mean, they really provide great support for us. But that's just one part of it. When, other parts, when we have meetings with potential families on campus, admitted student days and so on, we always encourage them to go into West Hartford, go over to Blueback, go into town and take a walk around, eat at a restaurant, and appreciate the fact that when you come to visit your student, you'll have West Hartford available. So it is really nice to be in such a great town. And then, one of the other changes in higher ed from when I was in school is that students nowadays have to have multiple internships or experiential pre-professional experiences before they graduate. And being in this location, we are surrounded by those. So we're, as you know, just a couple of miles from Hartford, the major corporations, major hospitals, in Bristol, ESPN. So location is such a critical thing for our campus now. And we're really lucky to have West Hartford on one side and the city of Hartford on the other side.
Where will you find West Hartford's best and most comprehensive business news? At weha.com. Subscribe to the weha.com newsletter Business Buzz for free every Monday at weha.com. Log on to we-ha.com. We have it all in West Hartford.
So before I forget, let's drive people to your website, Rhona. How do they get more information about University of St. Joe's?
Yeah, it's just very easy. It's just usj.edu.
And I have to say, I love that website. It's so simple. It's so short. If you forget that, usg.edu, you're in a lot of trouble. It's
an easy one.
Yeah, very simple. I always say to people, I have two email addresses, but one of the email addresses for West Hartford Magazine is tomh@westhartfordmagazine.com. And every time I say it, I say, it's long, but it's easy. I can remember it. But short's good. Short's great.
So on the campus, Thomas, we've had there a couple of other folks on this podcast who are with Capital Classic. So what other uses are your campus besides the normal, obviously education piece of it? What other aspects on your campus that you would like to talk about?
Well, as you know, we have a lot of athletics on campus and some really terrific athletic facilities. And so people from the community do come to campus to watch some of our games. But we also have a lot of youth organizations that use our facilities. The West Hartford Clavics team swims out of here. We have a number of summer camps and winter basketball camps for the community that operate out of campus. And so that's terrific. We love to have them here. We have the Pro-Am basketball tournament here over the summer. Just brings a lot of people to campus. And then we also have the arts side that brings people onto campus. This weekend, we had the 24th annual 5x5 Dance Festival that was our dance students, but also dance students from other colleges in the state and a lot of other dance companies, Hartford Ballet, and so on. The Children's Ballet Theater operates out of the auditorium on campus. So we're looking forward to having their performance of the Nutcracker coming up. And then we try to have events that just bring a lot of people to campus. So we had a truck or treat event a few weeks ago, right before Halloween, that brought 1,000 people to campus to look at trucks, fire trucks, all kinds of trucks. A helicopter came in. They had the police helicopter. So we just try to bring people onto campus for special events and planned activities. But also, we are probably one of the most favored dog walking locations in the town. So a lot of people just come onto campus to walk themselves, walk their dogs. And we love that. I think it's really good for our students to see all the community.
Obviously you have to have money to build all of these things, but I think that's the part you had such a large campus. You had so much room to add fields, to add dorms, to, not everybody has that, that luxury. What's the size? What's the acreage?
So we have about 90 acres. We try to protect as much of it as possible in grass and unpaved surface. We do have an area that is designated as grassland habitat. So it's carefully monitored and assessed in terms of attracting wildlife and native species and so on. But the original campus was designed by the Olmsted brothers, who were the sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed Central Park and lots of other very famous parks. And their layout was just perfect. It's a beautiful configuration. The campus has great bones. And so we try to make sure we don't interfere with that original design and layout. So any new construction goes around the exterior perimeter. And we try to keep the interior of the campus as consistent with that original vision as possible.
It is a beautiful campus.
Right, Bob, from the guy who thinks he knows everything about West Hartford. I mean, there's something I know. That's great.
It's a beautiful campus. I've been on there a number of times. The Capitol Classics. I've been there for ballet. I've been there, just going through West Hartford, and during the summertime, getting out of the car and walking around. It's just a lovely spot. And West Hartford's lucky to have it, and the students are lucky to have that beautiful campus. So.
Yeah, Rhona, is there anything that we didn't ask you before we sign off that you wanted to share, or?
A couple of things. One is that we do have, and this brings a lot of other people to campus, we have the Jenker Center, which is a school for children with special needs, and some of them have really significant medical complications as well. But that's about 150 students, and we're delighted to have them on campus. They are really although they have their own special buildings, they are part of our whole community. We still have the School for Young Children, which is a preschool, and that's a thriving operation. And again, it's an opportunity for families to have their children in a really good preschool in the area, but it's also a model school for our students. So our early childhood education students can have some practical experience there. And I guess the final thing is that our newest venture is ice hockey. And so we're looking forward to launching both men's and women's ice hockey in fall of 26.
Yeah. This will sound very chauvinistic, but it's not meant to be. I can't believe how many female athletes there are who play hockey. I never knew that. So just very good friends of ours' daughter actually went on a partial scholarship, I think, or whatever for hockey. So it's a small world.
Well, it's a great sport for women. It's very quick.
Yeah.
It's a great sport. So we're really looking forward to that. That we anticipate that should bring around another 40-something students to campus, undergraduates, and we're looking forward to having them.
Great. Excellent. Great. Well, we'll have you on again as we learn more about all the things going on at University of St. Joe's. Thank you, Rhona, for your time today. We really appreciate it. And for all of our listeners, please support University of St. Joe's. Check them out at that great, easy website, usj.edu. And in the meantime, we will see you out and about on the scene.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Bob.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.